Hi, I'm James Barfield with your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never duplicated. And as I've said so many times in the past, like, one of the reasons for that is that most people won't talk about the issues that I talk about on this program. But then again, this program is not designed for entertainment purposes. Nope. This program is for your education and information. That's what we bring you. And tonight is going to be no different. Tonight, I'm going to give you an update on the program that I did 1 week ago regarding are public schools safe? Now, I want to bring you up to date a little bit here. I asked the question 1 week ago, and I want to tell you that since that time, ladies and gentlemen, we are the only program that has addressed that question. You won't see this issue, or you have not seen this issue on any local television station, nor on any local newspaper, whether or not that be daily, weekly, or bi-weekly. None of them have touched this issue. So I want to bring you up to date a little bit here. On last Sunday, I attended a meeting of local community members here in the city. And I was under the impression that the topic was to be, how can we help the school district and the superintendent address these issues of school safety? Well, about an hour and a half into that meeting, nobody had brought up the issue of school safety. And a lot of ideas and opinions as to what could be done outside of the school, okay, to help improve relations and relationships between parents and students. But those are outside of the school. School safety is something that comes from within. And as parents, as community members, whatever, you cannot enact safety measures inside of the school buildings. That is the duty and responsibility of the school board and the school district. So once I addressed it, it appears that there was a few in the audience in attendance had no idea what I was talking about, had no idea about the difference between school safety and school involvement. Okay, so in this update, I want to tell you a little bit about a press conference that was held earlier today by the school district security supervisor, and her announced plans to enact some school safety measures. Because after all, you see, it doesn't make any difference about how many parents get involved. That does not make the schools more safe. And until school teachers, school students, and parents of school students feel that the school buildings are a safe avenue or venue for their kiddies, their little Johnnies, their little Janices, their little Judys, their little Marys, and their Richards and Toms. You see, until they feel that those buildings are present a safe environment, they're going to be very apprehensive about any involvement, nor having their child or children participating in that school district. See, this has happened before in other areas where when parents have had an incident or something causes them to get an insecure feeling about the safety of the school, they pull their kids out of that school district and enroll them in another school district where they feel comfortable and safe in dropping off their kids to the school district at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, feeling safe and confident that their kids will be safe when they pick them up at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. See, and that's the whole issue. It all begins with the mindset, the feelings, and the attitudes of the parents and the public. Now, the second part of this is the school district has an obligation, as I stated last week, to be transparent and to be accountable and make us aware what is going on in these school districts, what is our what is the environment that our children, okay, are participating in during the school day. And they haven't been doing that. You remember last week I posed 3 questions that I felt the public and the parents had an obligation to have these 3 questions answered. Number 1, were these guns handguns, or what type of guns were they? Number 2, were these guns loaded or unloaded? Number 3, did you find any ammunition on the persons of the individuals that brought the guns into school? And I could add a 4th one, what were the ages of these youngsters? We've got no answers, with one exception. They did identify one individual as a 16-year-old, but I've asked questions and I've gotten no answers from the school district, from the juvenile detention center. I've had no answers. Folks, that's not transparency, right? So in my update today, I'm happy to announce that Terry Moses, okay, who is the Director of Safety and Environmental Services, held a press conference today and made an announcement. Now, remember last week, I suggested that if they really wanted to be serious about this, all the tough talk was not the way to do it. Because these kids don't respond to tough talk. They respond to action. So I suggested that they have manned metal detectors installed in 2 entrances at the school, okay? Now, so today, Terry Moses said that she has a proposal to place in the schools a step up from metal detectors. Now, this is in her words. She said they're going to put automated screening devices, which she described as being a step up from traditional metal detectors at all high schools in USD 259. There will be 45 to 50 devices at a cost of up to $1.5 million. The cost of the devices have to be approved by the school board at its next meeting, which is next Monday. Each device will cost about $20,000. Now, I can compare this to the average cost, in her words, of the traditional metal detector of $5,000. So we're looking at $20,000 as opposed to $5,000. I have no problems with that, but I do have a question. When I talked about manned metal detectors in the schools, my question is, are these devices going to be manned? Will there be an SRO at each entrance to the school to monitor these devices? Because if not, ladies and gentlemen, this is problematic. Because if there's no manned personnel there and somebody walks in and this machine starts alarming you that, hey, there's a gun or a bomb or some type of device, and there's nobody there to monitor it, they just walk on by, ladies and gentlemen. And if there's an SRO at the other end of the building or whatever, by the time he gets there, if the gentleman has bad intentions, hey, it's going, that alarm is not going to stop his intentions. So I have that one question. Are they going to be manned? I hope we will get an answer to that on Monday night at the school board meeting. Now, the other thing I want to say, folks, is even if you have any kind of device, I don't care. There's a lot of things that go on at the schools during the day that we don't hear about. And only do we hear about it when it reaches the concern that police have to be called. And of course, then we hear about it, but we don't hear the details. We hear just what they want us to hear. As a matter of fact, they really want us to believe that everything is fine and we've got complete control of this, and nothing could be further from the truth, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to be honest, and we have to keep them honest, and we have to hold them accountable. Because you see, what we found out last week when I made the report, I was under the impression, as many of you were, that there had been two incidents in high schools with guns being found in the schools in two successive days. Now, later on, we find out that the previous week, there had been two guns found in the schools that was never mentioned to the public. And I don't know about the parents or not, but was never mentioned to the public. After my program last week, and I did that on Wednesday, after the successive guns found on Monday and Tuesday, my program is on Wednesday, and on Friday, after my program, another gun was found in the school. That makes a total of 5 guns in 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Now, we were not told in detail anything about these school happenings. We also now discover that there have been several fights in the school. Some of them reached the point where Wichita Police Department had to be called. These were fights that developed into brawls. Okay? We need to know that on a regular basis. We need to know what is going on with our little babies, our little Johnnies, our little Janices, our little Janes, our little Judys, our little Richards. We need to know, ladies and gentlemen. It is too late. Too much is happening across the country in our public schools for us to be in the dark, only to be alerted or informed once a tragedy has happened, right? So there's a lot to ask for. And parents, I'm going to say this, you are going to have to get more involved in your student's life. Because we have another question we have to ask. We have to ask this of parents. How is it that 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old juveniles are coming up with guns? Are these guns coming out of your home? Because I tell you, I cannot for the life of me see how 12 and 13-year-olds can buy a gun when they're underage. They cannot walk into a gun store and buy any type of gun because they're too young. So where are these guns coming from? And we have to, as parents, figure out, are your kids in your home getting into your unlocked guns and taking them to school? That is a concern. That is a question that needs to be addressed. We need to find that out. Now, the other side of the coin is we also need to find out what is the motive for these kids taking guns to school. Are they being bullied? Or are they upset with a teacher, with another student, with an administrator, or whoever? We need to know the answers to those questions, ladies and gentlemen. And we need to have that information at hand. We need to know what we can do. Okay, and it's particular as parents that have guns around the house easily can be picked up by a 14, 15-year-old, slipped out of the house, carried into the school building. Now, first of all, you're putting at risk everybody in the school, not only the students, but the teachers as well, cafeteria workers as well, the maintenance people, custodians in the school as well. Everybody in there is at a risk. And I want to tell you, I don't care how much parental involvement you have outside the school, nobody wants to feel uncomfortable and feel that they are putting their child or themselves in harm's way by going to an unsafe school building. Some teachers have refused to continue teaching at schools that they themselves feel are not adequately, safely maintained. So I'm proud to hear Terry Moses, representing the USD 259, make the announcement today that they're going to take some actions, not empty words, but some concrete actions to make these schools safer in USD 259. Make our kids feel safer. Make our parents feel safer. Make our teachers feel safer. Okay? I don't want my public school district to be as unsafe as a Walmart or a Dillon's or an Old Town nightclub or a mall, any of that. After all, my tax dollars are paying for my students to be educated in a safe environment in a public school system. Parents should feel safe knowing that when they drop their kids off at school at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever, that their children will be safe when they pick them up at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or 3, whatever. They have to have that feeling. You have to be convinced that you are doing all of the things that are necessary to make sure that their children, once they're in your custody, are participating in a safe school building and are surrounded by a safe environment. They deserve that, they demand that, and you have to give them that. Now, here's the question. We don't know when these devices, should the school board approve them, and I certainly believe they will, but once they approve them, we don't know how long it will be before they will be available in our classrooms. We hope, and Terry Moses hopes, that possibly by the winter break. Let's all hope that that happens. And let's hope that in the meantime, prior to that, nothing bad happens in USD 259 school buildings. Okay? So this is an update. Terry Moses on today announced a plan, a proposal for new updated safety devices to be implemented and installed in all high schools in USD 259, hopefully in the near future. You heard it here first. And remember, we're often imitated, but we're never duplicated. Why? Because others don't want to touch the issues and concerns that we address on Your Urban Connection. Thank you for watching.